Hello, listeners, and welcome to another edition of Bookie Bashing. We are very excited to be back in this studio for Week 6 of the NFL season. Love this card. I am your host, Anthony Nicky Jr. Ace, what's going on? How are we feeling about the weekend?
I'm schwitzing a little over here. I'm so excited about this card. Love these games. Oh, it's going to be an exciting weekend, folks.
Staxxx, you were hitting me up Tuesday morning by 6 a.m. blowing up my phone. I know you're ready to go.
Yeah, I'll put it to you this way. I had my 5 locked in Monday night. Going to lay a lot of points this weekend. It's a favorites weekend. We're laying a lot of points, but we're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, we love this card this week. 5 blowout winners. Like Staxxx said, laying a little bit of points, but we feel like Vegas is trying to scare you away from betting these locks. A lot of dead mortal locks this weekend. Last week, disappointing. 2 and 3 got backdoored all over the place. Dallas leading by 10 with under 4 to play gives the game back to Houston. Detroit up 14-3 at half, easily could have pulled themselves separated from Buffalo. Henry, that bum, misses 3 field goals. Bills win the game outright. Disappointing weekend. Still, on the season, 16-11. As we say, this is a marathon. We're going to make you money this year. Keep riding with us. Going to get that percentage easily at 60%, if not better by the end. But we feel great about this card. Coming back at you with 5 winners this week. Don't really want to waste any more time. Staxxx, Ace, very excited to go. Let's start off at the top.
Dallas at Seattle.
The defending Super Bowl champs really starting to play well as they looked great in Washington on Monday night, winning by 2 touchdowns despite having a couple touchdowns called back. Now we're laying 8 back at home against these Cowboys, and we love these Hawks to roll by double digits in this one. Seahawks' definition of consistency. Here's a team that's 40-18-1 against the spread in the last 59 home games, 38-16-1 against the spread in the last 55 overall, and 20-6 against the spread in the last 26 versus the NFC. They get up for big games. Cowboys come in, public's pretty high on them. Really kind of split on this game early on, and we love that. Dallas, 4-1 overall early. They looked really good, but they haven't played a team like Seattle yet. Nor have they had to deal with a crowd like Seattle, this 12th man that's going to get rocking. Tony Romo, DeMarco Murray, great start to the year. Romo looks healthy, but like we said, they're going to struggle with play calls, those type of things in Seattle. Love this front 7. Of course, you love the back 4 with the potential to get big game-changing turnovers. I think Tony Romo throws a couple big interceptions in this game. Expect Russell Wilson and company to keep rolling on offense. They looked good in Washington despite the penalties. Really, penalties held them back from blowing up into the 40s in that game. I think they roll here with a lot of points, get rid of all the penalties and problems. Seattle by double digits in this one.
Yeah, Tone, I like these Hawks a lot. This is probably my favorite play this weekend. This defense flat out way too much for Tony Romo and these Cowboys to handle. DeMarco Murray's been running great. I'm not going to take anything away from him there. But like you said, they haven't played a team like these Seattle Seahawks, the defending champions. This Seattle offense coming together looking great. Russell Wilson doing it on his feet, doing it in the air. Percy Harvin's coming alive. Had 3 touchdowns last week. All 3 called back. A lot of penalties last week. You know Pete Carroll is studying away, getting his guys whipped back into shape. They're going to be very disciplined this week. They're going to come out firing, and we got a great coach in Pete Carroll on one side, and we got an idiot like Jason Garrett on the other. Here's a guy who's just proven time and time again that he's going to make mistakes, that he's going to be out-coached by a better coach such as Pete Carroll. Bad timeout, bad play calling, bad this, bad that. It never ends with this guy. He's a horrible coach, and that's why these Cowboys have struggled a lot over these years. Those penalties that happened last week won't happen this week. I can assure you that. This is a championship caliber football team that doesn't make those mistakes 2 weeks in a row. All those penalties still won by double digits. That just goes to show you what kind of team we're working with here, what kind of caliber players that we have here. Seattle Seahawks win by double digits. Absolutely.
Now, folks, it's very easy to look at these 4-1 Cowboys with a 4-game winning streak and be very impressed by them. The offense has looked really good. DeMarco Murray is damn near unstoppable. The problem is, to me, they really haven't proven they can beat anybody real yet. Their 2 home wins were against Houston, who had the first pick last year, and New Orleans, who hasn't proven yet that they can play any defense. Then their only road games so far have been in St. Louis and in Tennessee against 2 pretty easy teams. Seattle is an extremely hard place to play, probably the hardest place to play in the NFL. That 12th man is on you. Tony Romo had problems last week with his own home crowd, with these folks that drove from Houston to take over Cowboy Field and make it a home field for these Houston Texans. Do you really think that these Houston Texans fans are nearly as loud as in Seattle? Tony Romo won't be able to communicate with any of his receivers. He's really going to have problems all day on that offense. Now, so far, DeMarco Murray and this running game has averaged 160 yards per game. That's the second best in the NFL. Problem for the Cowboys? Seattle has the first best running game. They're going to run all over this Cowboys defense that has looked better than they really are, but they're going to come to reality a little bit when they won't be able to communicate out there. They're not going to be able to hear who has who's supposed to cover what guy. The Seattle Seahawks also have the best rushing defense in the whole NFL. The Cowboys aren't going to be able to run the ball as easily as they have against teams like Houston, Tennessee, New Orleans. These are all weak defenses. Seattle's defense is obviously the toughest that any team has to go up against any week in the NFL. They're as good as it gets, guys. It's going to be problems for the whole Cowboys team. And guys, when it comes down to it, the NFL is a quarterback-driven league. Now, I like Tony Romo a little bit, but on the road, he's a bit mediocre. And Russell Wilson has really proven that he's one of the elite quarterbacks in the league right now. He's tricky, he just keeps plays alive and makes big plays happen. He can't be stopped when it's the end of the game, whether he's running out the clock or looking for that big last drive. Cowboys have no chance this weekend. These Seahawks kill these Cowboys.
Yeah, Seattle's the type of team that leans on you, especially at home. They're going to play hard for 4 quarters. Going to make it tough for Dallas, and I don't think they can keep up with them. Realistically, Seattle rolls in this one by double digits, 34-17 final.
Denver at New York.
Peyton Manning goes for the career touchdown record this weekend in New York as these Broncos are laying 10. Gotta love these Denver Broncos to roll out these New York Jets. Here's a Jets team that is really struggling. 0-4-1 against the spread in their last 5 overall. They have looked horrible over the last couple of weeks, as Rex Ryan really seems to be fighting for his job. Schedule not getting any easier for these Jets, and these fans are starting to get frustrated. In comes Peyton Manning and company, who just looked great coming off of the bye. Denarius Thomas, welcome back. Peyton Manning needs 3 touchdowns to tie the record, 4 to break him. I don't see him not showing up and breaking this record this week against the really depleted New York Jets team. Denver beats up against weak teams, 9-3 against the spread in the last 12 games overall versus teams with a losing record. Nobody is more down than these Jets right now. They have nobody to play quarterback after both looked horrible in San Diego last week. Denver's defense is even going to look better against the Jets team that can't move the ball right now. Boy, Denver rolls easily. This gets ugly so quick.
Yeah, guys, this Jets, especially defensively, they're not a horrible team. But right now, they're just in a lot of disarray. You went out on a West Coast trip, and you came back with just all these problems. A quarterback controversy. You have one quarterback missing meetings to go to movies. Another quarterback saying he's not prepared to go into the game. I don't really know if these guys don't know what it takes to be a successful NFL quarterback or just don't care to do it. But the point is, these Jets right now, they're not ready to win. They're not ready to play. And a team like the Denver Broncos who comes in playing like it's the Super Bowl every Sunday, they're just going to steamroll them. Peyton Manning has the record right in his sights. You know he wants that in the bright lights of New York. Peyton Manning is on a mission to get back to this Super Bowl after being embarrassed last February. And he's just going to run right through these Jets this Sunday. He's going to get the record with a few touchdown passes. He's going to spread the ball around all over this Jets defense that can look good at times. They're tied for the leading amount of sacks in the whole NFL. Problem is, Denver has allowed the second least sacks all year. They've shown that they can go up against a really good pass rush and keep Peyton Manning standing up and ready to throw the ball all day. I'm not worried that these Jets can get to Peyton Manning this Sunday. I think Peyton really runs over a Jets team. And the Denver defense that looks a little average at times is going to look really good against this Jets offense that has no weapons and clearly no quarterback to lead them. Don't be one of the people that bet the New York Jets this weekend. Make sure you're on these Denver Broncos. They win big.
We have Peyton Manning chasing the touchdown record. We all saw what Peyton Manning did last week chasing a record. He exploded, and I expect the exact same thing this week. Like Tony said, I expect him to break this record here on Sunday against this Jets team who doesn't know what's going on in New York. We have Dumb and Dumber at quarterback over there. Neither of them are performing. Don't let Rex Ryan talk you guys out of this easy play here, telling you that we're going to play better. I know we're going to play better. Yeah, it's nice, Rex, but it's not going to be this weekend against the Denver Broncos. That's for damn sure. It's going to be ugly in New York. Broncos roll late at 10 points.
Yeah, one of those games Vegas could not set this spread high enough. Opened up at 7 all the way to 10 now. Get this thing in because really Denver going to roll in this one. They're scared of this game. Nothing they could do to get the public on these Jets. Denver easily cruises 41-13 final.
Chicago at Atlanta.
Atlanta Falcons head back home following 2 disappointing losses on the road in Minnesota and in New York last week, and they are laying 3 points against the Chicago Bears here. Love the Falcons to bounce back. One of those teams completely different at home than they are on the road. 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 home games. This is a Falcons team that I bet you finishes this season 8-0 or 7-1 at home. They just play great on that turf. The offense looks a lot better. Now they need a win coming off 2 tough losses. Chicago Bears 7-20 against the spread in their last 27 versus the NFC. 7-18-1 against the spread in their last 26 games overall. I think Matt Ryan and company really work well at home. He's going to find Roddy White a bunch, Julio Jones. Running game looks a lot better. Bears offense is pretty solid, but the defense has just been a disaster. And I don't think they have any way to stop Atlanta. Atlanta gets the job done here in a game that they have to win.
Yeah, love the Falcons here, back in their dome. 2 tough road games that they lost, like Tony said. This is exactly what this team needs. They need a nice home game. We see how they play at home. It's a different team. Matt Ryan and these weapons, Julio Jones, Roddy White, will get theirs. They will get some touchdowns. They're going to be scoring. That's no doubt about it. There will be touchdowns scored in this game. On the other side of the football, Jay Cutler and his 2 weapons. They're going to score too, but they're not going to be able to keep up with Matt Ryan and this high-octane offense. Falcons roll.
Yeah, guys, this Falcons defense is going to be able to slow down a Bears offense that right now has a lot of injuries and really isn't running the ball all too effective. While they are an explosive offense, right now overall, they're not one of the better producing offenses in the NFL. In fact, the Atlanta Falcons is the team with a top 3 offense right now after these first 5 weeks. Now let me break down the Falcons offense a little bit. They have 12 guys right now with a reception, 7 of which have a touchdown reception. They have 4 guys with a running touchdown. They like to spread the ball around a lot. They like to call a lot of different plays. They like to have guys running in different directions, a lot of misdirection plays, bombing it downfield. They like to get everyone involved. That's a problem for a Bears defense that really only has 1 or 2 stars on the defense. They need to be able to focus in on a player and shut them down, and that's going to be a problem this week against the Falcons. Matt Ryan has proven that he's one of the most effective quarterbacks right now in the NFL. I think Matty Ice pulls it together. The Philly kid has a big day against this Bears defense. I could see Devin Hester absolutely going off against his old team. Now, I know it's not his old coach, but that doesn't really matter in his mind. He still wants to make them pay. He's going to return one. Matty Ice is going to throw him a touchdown, maybe even send him on a couple of reverses. Maybe he breaks one of those also. I think he has an absolutely huge day this weekend. I think these Falcons just roll over these Bears easily at home.
Falcons, really good home team, and I just think they need this game. I don't see the Bears showing up for this one. Expect some points going on the board, but the Falcons just outscore them 34-24 final.
Carolina at Cincinnati.
Bengals come back home following an embarrassing performance on Sunday Night Football, laying 6.5 points against Carolina, and we love these Bengals to get back and win here by double digits at home. Cincinnati really disappointed everybody, coming off of a bye week last week, not showing up against the New England team that really everybody was down on. But don't get it twisted. That embarrassment will help this team bounce back. This is a Bengals team that is really good. Great on defense, very tough at home. Andy Dalton at home, a different quarterback. Here's a Bengals team, 13-3 against the spread in their last 16 home games, 8-3 against the spread in their last 11 overall. They don't play well on primetime. They didn't show up in New England, but Tom Brady, Bill Belichick had a lot to prove in that game. They really came out hard. I don't think Cincinnati had a chance in that one. Now, Carolina comes in, 1-4 against the spread on the last 5 road games. Cam Newton, this offense really hasn't looked great in the last couple of weeks. They haven't been clicking, lost a couple tough games. They did pull it out last week, but still, the offense not really clicking. Cincinnati, you're laying 6.5 points here. Public a little bit worried after A.J. Green gets hurt. I'm not too concerned there. I thought that they were still going to roll because of defense. Now, just because A.J. Green's out, the offense might not be as strong, but you still got Bernard. I think Sanu steps up. Expect this Cincinnati defense to win them the game as they roll against Carolina.
Yeah, guys, this is a Panthers team that most weeks I will like, but it's a team that really relies on winning time of possession as a main factor to win the ball game. That's going to be a huge problem against a team that when they're at home is probably a top 2 or 3 defense in the whole NFL. They're right there with the Seahawks when it comes to defenses being unbelievably tough to beat on their home field. Now, they're in a more friendly confines now they're playing back on Sunday afternoon. It's easier for them than that big-time stage. They don't like that big-time stage. As the playoff show Andy Dalton and that team choked a bit. But it's alright because it's just any other Sunday, and that's the way it's going to be. It's alright that A.J. Green's hurt, because Mohamed Sanu has just as many touchdowns as A.J. Green does this year. Andy Dalton's going to be able to use Tyler Eifert and a couple other guys that he really hasn't hit too much. Gio Bernard is going to be able to really find a lot of seams against this defense and torch them when it comes to rushing yards. I think the Bengals win pretty easily because their defense just controls the clock.
Here we have a really good Cincinnati football team, especially playing well at home. They got embarrassed on a big stage against the Patriots. A game that they definitely want to get this win. They're a good enough franchise, good enough team to do so. Defense looks great. The defense will come to play this Sunday. That's a guarantee. This is a game versus a Carolina Panthers team who's shown to be weak this season, and they have a lot of improving to do over there in Carolina. They go on the road in this pretty hostile Cincinnati crowd. You know, losing A.J. Green definitely hurts, no question. But this offense is plenty capable to get it done without him. Gio Bernard will pound this football. Andy Dalton has a few targets that he can work with. And this team will get the win, absolutely.
Yeah, this Bengals defense was embarrassed on Sunday night. I think they have a lot of pride there. They're a top 5 D in the league. They show up at home this weekend. Bengals roll, 27-10 final.
San Diego at Oakland.
Love these Chargers heading to Oakland, laying the 7 points. Listen, I know it's early in the season, but right now you gotta love these San Diego Chargers to really compete in the AFC. Talk about a guy who's turned his career around. Phillip Rivers coming back to life last year. Since Mike McCoy took over, last year he had Ken Wisenhunt helping to turn it around. This year, things have just continued to progress. San Diego has looked great. 10-1 against the spread in the last 11 overall. 6-0 against the spread in the last 6 on the road. Now we head to Oakland, where it's been an absolute disaster. I said Dennis Allen might be out of a job by week 8. Gave this guy too much credit. He was done by week 4. Oakland, 26-53-1 against the spread in the last 80 at home. It's no longer a black hole there. It's been easy to go over there and get wins. 2 out of 3 they're not covering at home. Horrible for this Oakland team. Love these Chargers to continue to roll. 8-3 against the spread in the last 11 in Oakland. These Chargers are a real contender so far this year. Don't sleep on how good the defense has been. I know it's the weak Jets, but no points last week given up at home. The team has looked great so far this year. San Diego's beaten teams much better than Oakland. They roll here by double digits easily.
Yeah, guys, these Chargers are a really good team right now. Mike McCoy has his guys ready to play. He's a really good coach. Within the next year or two, people are going to look at Mike McCoy as one of the best coaches in the whole league. He's really got Phillip Rivers back to where Phillip Rivers was when he was at the top of his game. I'm not saying Phillip Rivers is elite right now, but he's playing like he is. Now you got Antonio Gates, a top tight end again. Keenan Allen, while he hasn't broken out yet, I think is due for a big game against these Raiders. He torched them twice last year, and I think he does the same against a defense that's probably worse this year. Charles Woodson even came out and said, this defense sucks. They're not getting any better. I feel bad. I wish they would trade my boy Charles Woodson to a contender. It's going to be awful this week in Oakland for that defense. They're not going to be able to stop them. And I think Oakland might get a little bit more points than these miserable Jets did last week. But let's be real, they're not going to score that many points. They have injuries all over this board, and they don't really have too many weapons to begin with. They have aging running backs. The game is really going to come down to this. The Chargers have a top 10 offense with Phillip Rivers and the guys really clicking right now. And on the defensive side of the ball, they have a top 5 defense also. As for the Raiders, they have one of the worst defenses in the league in that Swiss cheese defense that we've talked about. And they have literally the worst offense in the league, ranked 32nd overall. It's not going to be pretty for these Raiders when they go up against these tough San Diego Superchargers.
Yeah, you got that right. This Oakland Raiders offense is absolutely horrendous. 2 young quarterbacks, no matter which one starts, pick your poison there. Absolutely no offensive threat. You know, they got a little healthy over their bye, I'm sure, but that's not enough. Very inexperienced, very young team. This team is a complete disaster. Tony Serrano will provide a spark at some point, but it's not going to be this week against a division rival in the San Diego Chargers. I said it before, I'll say it again. We have a totally different football team in San Diego with Norv Turner's dumbass out of there. Love what they got going on in San Diego. Love the way the defense looked, although a little banged up. Doesn't matter. We got a soft Oakland team. Phillip Rivers looks fantastic. He will continue to roll, and he will torch this Raiders secondary. And my man Brandon Oliver busted out last week. Expect the same thing from him again this week. Chargers win by double digits.
Yeah, don't get it twisted, folks. Tony Sparano comes in, but he is running the same exact shit that Dennis Allen is running. It takes a year at least to implement a new system, and that's with an off-season and stuff. This Raiders team is going to be the exact same thing. San Diego has no problem here. They roll 31-10 victory. That's going to wrap things up for Week 6 of the NFL season. I'll say it for Ace and Staxxx. I know we feel good, baby. We feel good with this 5-0 weekend. Love these games, going all favorites, but this is the weekend to do it. A lot of double-digit victories here. Going to roll with the Seattle Seahawks at home to take out the Cowboys 34-17. Taking the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning to break the record 41-13 final in New York. Taking the Atlanta Falcons, needing a victory, heading back home after 2 rough road losses. They get the job done, laying 3 against the Bears, 34-24. Taking the Cincinnati Bengals back home following the embarrassing Sunday night loss. They roll by double digits over Carolina, 27-10. And taking the Chargers, who are one of the top teams right now in the AFC, to beat up on the worst team in the league, the Oakland Raiders, 31-10. Of course, laying 7 in that game. We love this card. A lot of anticipation, just as much as the last time we went 4-1 for you. Remember, 16-11 overall, 14-8 overall in the last month. So if you're with us last month, 14-8. We're banging on over 60% all the time, if not better than that. Don't stop this season. Continue to place these bets. This is a marathon. We are going to roll this weekend. Feeling great about these locks. For Ace Berg and Joey Staxxx, I am your host, Anthony Nicky Jr., saying we will see you next time here at www.bookiebashingats.com.